So I promised to do a video about coercive control, and alongside that, the patterns of behaviours that make up coercive control, i.e. love bombing, narcissistic traits, all of that. So I decided the best way to probably do this is to share some of the information that's out there on UK websites regarding coercive control. And I'm going to begin with the people who actually advocated for it in the first place and managed to get this a law in the UK back in 2015. Now, obviously, coercive control is a big, massive, wide, it's so much, there's so much that it covers, that not all of it will be applicable to what I'm talking about today, but certain parts of it will. Now, I'm going to show a couple of different websites and a couple of different pieces of information, but I just want to say this is not how I have come to this conclusion. I have come to this conclusion because myself, I have been in relationships where it wasn't good. They weren't good. And in reading the text messages, it took me back to the way I felt in those situations. This treading on eggshells, the feeling nervous on when they may next explode, or in Nick's own words, freak out. Will there be less of these freak outs in person, dear? Quote. So I'm going to start reading. I'm going to read some of it. Obviously, I'm not going to read all of it out, but I'm going to scroll as I go. So if there is parts you want to read, please feel free to pause. I'm just going to read the parts that I feel are applicable to this today. So coercive control is an act or a pattern of acts of assault, threats, humiliation or intimidation or other abuse that is used to harm, punish or frighten the victim. Now, there was definitely a pattern of acts of narcissistic behaviour. There was a pattern and repeated acts of love bombing. So that to me is already sort of building up an idea of where we're coming from today. So this controlling behaviour is designed to make a person dependent by isolating them from support, exploiting them, depriving them of independence, and regulating their everyday behaviour. Now again, I feel that this is relevant because she did exploit him. She exploited his disability, she exploited his love for her, she exploited his vulnerability, all of it. She exploited him. And regulating their everyday behaviour, to me, again, there is also evidence of this. Coercive control creates invisible chains and a sense of fear that pervades all elements of a survivor's life. Now, please bear in mind, he was messaging other people to get advice on this situation. He was reaching out to those he trusted online and querying it. There was definitely some invisible chains there. You could see how absolutely devoted he was to her. So, experts like Evan Stark liken coercive control to being taken hostage. The victim becomes captive in an unreal world created by the abuser, entrapped in a world of confusion, contradiction, and fear. That's quoted from Stark in 2007. Now, here's some examples of coercive behaviour, but again, I'm going to read out the ones that I feel are relevant because this covers so much. The repeatedly putting you down jumps out to me because in a roundabout way she was putting him down with the freakouts in quotation marks. He never knew where he stood. He didn't know if he was good enough. Telling him that there was somebody else that she may like to see before she leaves town. Again, that'd make me feel quite put down personally. The humiliating, degrading or dehumanising you, I feel like that's also applicable. the controlling the finances. Now, obviously that one, finances is a difficult thing here because she was definitely in control of the money, but that's because she'd stolen it and she paid for all the bus tickets and stuff and hotels, and he was getting his own disability check, so I don't know. I think that's a difficult one. Don't think she controlled his finances, but I think she controlled the finances. Making threats or intimidating you. We have all seen that video. I'm going to use the one tool I have over you. Gypsy. I'll say no more. Now here's some statistics on coercive control, and I'm just going to slowly scroll so that people can read at their own time. And then in a moment we're going to go over to another page because I was what's the word now? Curious on, was there any previous record of somebody being coerced into committing a serious crime. So I'm going to go over to that page now. I'm just going to pause my screen record in a moment. I'm just going to go for the AI overview on this. So yes, someone can be coercively controlled into committing serious crimes, particularly within abusive relationships where the perpetrator uses manipulation, threats, and intimidation to pressure the victim into criminal acts, often against their own will. This is recognised legally in the UK as controlling or coercive behaviour and can be considered a criminal offence in many jurisdictions. Here's just down here, psychological manipulation, some key points about coercive control and crime. Abusers often use tactics like gaslighting, isolation, and threats to erode the victim's sense of self and ability to make independent decisions, making them more susceptible to carrying out criminal acts. Fear of violence. Was Nick scared that Gypsy was going to hurt him? Probably not. Was he scared of violence towards Gypsy? Yes, he was. Legal implications. So there we go. I'd not really seen that part. So fear of violence. Victims may be coerced into committing crimes due to a genuine fear of physical harm to themselves or loved ones if they refuse. The legal implications, I feel there's not really much point in reading that one out because, this is the UK and it's not really relevant to Nick. So I'm going to move on to the next one, which was the love bombing. So I'm just going to pause my screen again whilst I get that up. I've just realised that I am on 8 minutes of the video and I only get 10 minutes, so I think I'm going to do a part 2 of the video covering the love bombing and the narcissism, and then I can sort of bring the three together to state my case. If you have watched this far, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. The purpose of me making this video is to say what I wanted to say the other night on live and wasn't really given the opportunity to say. This is part of the reason that I've decided to support Nick, alongside the fact that I am a mother of an autistic child myself, and like I have heard many other people say, I worry for my son when he grows up. I worry who may try and control his mind. So that and my own experiences in volatile relationships really make me feel connected to this case, and I can't rest until I've done my part, as irrelevant as I am which I am but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. So please remember, guys, the deadline is a week away. Please, if you are able to write letters, please do that. If you're struggling on what to put, please message me. I do not mind helping, and I will post the address on my story every day for the next week. So yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Bye.